Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender on Ron Siegel Radio. But hey, before we get to that, it is our week of celebrations. We're celebrating our military men and women. Kevin Bruner here from the Q Companies. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Before I go too far, let me remind you, if you have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money. I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Today is, if I'm now, again, I'm very, very lucky because my wife doesn't listen to the show because today's National Cashback Day. For some reason, whatever size bill I give her, there's never any cash back. I don't know if you go through this one as well, but honey, I need $11. So I give her a 20. Last time I will ever see any part of that. Give her a 50, same thing. Hundreds, forget it. In fact, the 100, she tells me she can't spend it, so I need to give her a 20 to go with it. But I digress. I got
a bad feeling about this.
Josh, don't tell her we did this segment. Today is also this is good for me. Unfortunately, I'm kind of stuck. I'm at 98 pounds right now. I've lost. And I've made this commitment that in order to feast on Thanksgiving, I got to be at 100. Otherwise, it's fast. So I got to get those extra 2 pounds off. This one might help, though. Today's National Men Make Dinner Day. I'm best at making reservations. So there are a couple things that I'll make, but not a whole heck of a lot. And then it is also National Nachos Day. I like the nachos. Can we leave off the well, we got two things on there, Josh, that we got to get rid of. I mean, it's jalapenos and cilantro. Two things that if they weren't in the world, it would not bother me. I'm a wimp. I'm the first to admit it. I don't like the real spicy stuff. I like the real cheese, not that sauce that they put on it, like when you go to a stadium. Give me the real stuff. And lots of meat. It looks pretty good, though, there, Josh. We'll have to go with that. Okay, let's move right along and see what's going on in the world today. We've got I know we had the markets, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Ooh, that one's down 397 points. Ow! The NASDAQ is down 416. That's even worse. The S&P 500 down 66. And the only one that's good, not in California, it doesn't matter. Oil is down 50 cents a barrel. Now, why do I say it doesn't matter in California? Because most of the country, gas prices are going down. In fact, I was listening to an article this morning, and they said, if you were to take California's pricing out, now, of course, we have Gavin Newsom, so we have the highest gas prices in the country, by far. Now, if we were to take out California, gas prices would average under $3 a gallon. Under $3. But we have Gavin, so we're at 469. National average is 308. The only other states that have gas prices, and I'm gonna use a Gavin Newsom here. The only other states that have gas prices over $4 is Washington State and Alaska. And I don't understand Alaska because they have a lot of gas reserves there. I guess they probably ship them to California and then have for refining, and then goes back to Alaska. But those are the only other states that have gas prices over $4 a gallon. And as Gavin would put it, full stop. It's painful. It is painful looking at gas prices when we are in Taxifornia. Of course, we had to spend $250 million on that special election to see what we're going to get out of that one. But I digress. Let's move along. We are on, I think it's day 37 of the government shutdown. So the House of Representatives, they're on vacation for the last month. Of course, the staff doesn't get paid, but it's going to get ugly. And not for any other reason than the fact that it's just a matter of safety. So we saw yesterday 10% of the flights are going to be shut down. They're going to be canceled across the country. And yes, Ontario and Los Angeles International are both part of that setback. Now, not only is that going to be detrimental starting, I think it starts tomorrow, but not only is that detrimental for air travel, but think about this. Commercial airlines have the same, are going to be restricted as well. So if you're waiting for a gift to come in, or if your favorite store orders things to be delivered by airline, the commercial flights are going to be cut back as well. Not going to be pleasant. So you better plan early for any type of travel. Now, ties right into gas prices though, because we saw, I think last week when we looked at gas prices, we did see that there was a build of oil. Well, we might not have that build of oil being that, and we had our annual fire in Carson. Did you notice that one? I don't know how that happens. About every year we get a fire over at the refineries in Carson. So we had that one already. So California's special blend, not 11, our special blend that only works in California. So that one there, we shut down on supply. Now, if you have listened to Ron Siegel Radio for any length of time, and yes, we've been doing this since 2010, you know that it's all about supply and demand. And when we cut down on the supply of oil, supply of gas coming out of the refineries, well, we're going to see prices continue to increase, but only in California because the other states, they can get stuff from other refineries. We have to have a special blend. Thanks, Gavin. And, people ask me, why is it that you blame Gavin? Well, it's 24 years we've been dealing with him. 8 years as the mayor of San Francisco, 8 years as the lieutenant governor, and now he's in this 8-year term of governor. And he wants to do to the rest of the country what he's done to California because he's running for president. Unbelievable. But his aunt, I guess, is retiring after her 180th year in Congress. Nancy Pelosi said she's not going to run again. Of course, I don't know if Nancy Pelosi has ever run, but her husband makes a lot of money with her, so he might be the one making her work. He makes millions a day by trading the stocks on inside information. Now, when I worked at Merrill Lynch, you couldn't front run. You had to tell everybody in the world about anything you wanted to buy before you could buy it. We had the sales hindrance department would watch us. Not if you're in Congress. You just tell your spouse and go buy ahead of time, make the announcement tomorrow, sell it the day after, and wow, you made boatloads of money. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, if you are one of those people who can legally make boatloads of money, well, we're going to also show you how to minimize your tax liabilities. So that's what we're going to do today, what a government shutdown really means for the housing market and more. Reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564. Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at RonIsMyLender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. RonIsMyLender.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at RonSiegelRadio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you believe Southern California real estate is a great investment? Are you a little short to be a cash investor? Are you missing the Social Security card or tax returns? The Siegel Lending Team has the loans for you. Common Sense Lending is back. Yes, there's a cost to higher risk, but the reward can be great. Call today for details. 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 217037, and DRE number 1869452.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, and every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They don't tell us the number you put in your mortgage calculator to identify what your principal and interest payment will be. I'm sorry, they do tell us the number to put in your mortgage calculator to identify your principal and interest payment. They don't tell us the APR. And I'm glad. Because APR is just a bogus number. Yes, I said it and I'm right. Why? Well, the government said we have to give it to you. I'm licensed, so I have to tell it to you if I'm not just referencing somebody else's numbers. But why do I say it's bogus? Well, because it has to do with interim interest. And a company that puts in interim interest as of the first of the month is going to have a higher APR than a company that puts in interim interest as of the end of the month. Now, the other costs get built in as well, but the interim interest is manipulated. I mean, if you know what you're doing, you can get a better number. But I digress. What did rates do yesterday? Once again, they were mixed. Conventional 30-year fixed, 6.251. That was up. Jumbo 30-year fixed, 6.465. That was down. FHA 30-year fixed, 6.058. That was up. One of my favorite loans, the VA loan, because that's for our veterans who have earned it, just as E.F. Hutton would have said. VA 30-year fixed, 5.836. That was up. And the USDA loan, 30-year fixed, 5.923. That was down. If you want our thoughts about the market, we Unity each and every business day morning. And that goes at rsrlinks.com/HBOD. rsrlinks.com/HBOD. Where did he come up with HBOD? You all need a household board of directors. So in my simple mind, household board of directors, HBOD. So you can go right there and grab that information. We put a lot of good stuff in there for you, but I digress. Let's see what the markets are doing today. Well, we've got the S&P 500 is down 71 now. The 10-year Treasury is down 8 basis points. That's good news. And we've got, yes, I got it. And the mortgage bond is up 30 basis points. Now, when we talk about the 10-year Treasury, that's the yield down 8. That's good. When we talk about the bond going up, it's a teeter-totter, seesaw, whatever it is from your day. You probably not even have that at the park anymore. But when the bond goes up, rates go down. So we are seeing mortgage rates will go down a little bit today based on where they were yesterday. We'll see if that continues. But just like the government, it's going to open up soon anyway, at some point in time. But why are we seeing all these things? What's driving this market? Because the numbers, whenever I give you numbers, just remember, you can go to that super secret website, google.com, and you can find those numbers there. What you're not going to find is the underlying data that's telling us why are these things happening? What's driving this market? Well, I'm not going to tell you the jobless claims today because the government shut down. That might be a good thing. Now, I don't say that because of I understand there's a lot of people that get hurt by a government shutdown. But, in my book, other than paying the bills, if the government wasn't doing anything, it might be better than when they do something. Think about that one. So it has set a record. I think that's what some of the members of Congress wanted, was to see if they could set that record. They got the election that they wanted. I did notice that right after Mamdani was announced as the new mayor of New York, the fire chief, he resigned. You know why? He's Jewish. And Mamdani doesn't like Jewish people. Now, I don't know about the police chief. I know she's Jewish, but is she going to be able to keep her job? And, Mamdani is pretty clear about where he stands on that. So the government has shut down, has set a record. The impact is mounting. The FAA announced that flights will be cut by 10% at 40 major airports. Chicago Fed labor market indicator estimates that there was a change of unemployment rate to 4.36 in October, rounded to 4.4. Okay. And there's a 40% chance it's higher than that, according to their data. This would result in the unemployment rate rising from the BLS jobs report, if we got it, from 4.3 to 4.4. Now, I will tell you, because I did graduate from Chapman College, it wasn't a university way back then, that there is something called the Doty rule or Doty law. There are many laws that are called the Doty law. He is an amazing economist over at Chapman University. And he said, whenever an economist tells you there's a 40% chance of anything, what they're really saying is they have no blanking clue what they're talking about. That is the Doty rule. Don't get upset with me. I just report it. Austin Goolsbee, the president of the Chicago Fed, spoke on CNBC this morning, said there's a lot of stability in the labor market. I wonder what Austin's looking at.
Idiot.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Because in their own data, there are less job creations, hiring rates have fallen, and layoffs have increased. That's in the data coming out of the Chicago Fed, which he's in charge of. Goolsbee is afraid of inflation, even though the latest CPI report for October was cooler than estimates and showed the core CPI decrease on a year-over-year basis. He's focused on core services inflation, which he claims is running at 4% if you annualize the 3 previous months. But doing that exercise with PCE and CPI results in 3.4% and 3.8% respectively. He did not mention in the last CPI report, core services decelerated to 0.2%. Now, if we annualize 0.2%, if my math is correct, that would be 2.4% on an annualized basis. Good morning, Austin. Will, where are you?
Idiot.
He must have gone to the Jay Powell School of Economics.
Such an idiot.
Yeah. He did confirm what we already believed. If the government does not reopen and soon, the Fed will not cut rates on December 10th. Remember, when the government reopens, data does not just get released as the government has been shut down during their collection. So the jobs data, it's the week that encompasses the 12th of the month. That means that if we do not reopen the government by next week, there's a good chance the next jobs report is pushed off and the Fed will not get that info ahead of their next meeting. Challenger, used to be Challenger, Gray and Davis, but now they call it the Challenger, reported there were 153,000 job cut announcements just in October.
Ow!
The highest level for an October in 22 years. Year to date, there have been over 1 million job cut announcements, which is the highest 10 months to start the year since 2009. For perspective, the total amount of unemployed people in the U.S. is 7.4 million. So this is significant. Companies are doing layoffs due to cost-saving measures and AI, and DOGE is having an impact on government cuts. On the hiring side, plans to hire are down 35% from this time last year. The year-to-date data is the lowest since 2011, which is very weak. Challenger also said they've seen the lowest number of announced seasonal hires through October since they began tracking them in 2012. Overall, this was a very weak report and helped bonds to rally, as I just mentioned to you. Later today, we're going to get Cleveland Fed President Beth Hammack will be speaking. She's not voting this year, but will next year. Last time we heard from her, the comments were not bond friendly. Hammack is focused on inflation and thinks it's too high, but does not consider the impact of tariffs or shelter overstatement, let alone portfolio management. Got to start teaching some of these people. New York Fed President Williams and Fed Governor Barr will also be speaking today. We'll get those updates later in the day. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at mbelinks.com/mobile app. So let's start our conversation with our featured guest today. Kevin Bruner is with us, the Q Companies and a Marine. Thank you for your service. We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
You know, I often say that if it wasn't for the men and women of the military, people like me who do a conservative radio show in a liberal state would have a lot of problems. Because it's free speech, right? I mean,
yeah.
That's one of the big benefits. Our freedoms come from the men and women of the military. And as we get ahead, Tuesday, Veterans Day.
Yes, it is.
And we've got the Marine Corps birthday. It's 250th birthday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to the Marine Corps ball this year, but I've gone in many years in the past, and it's an amazing event.
You know, when I was stationed on recruiting duty in California in the 80s, and we had our Marine Corps ball, and our sergeant major brought a gentleman that was in his 90s who had fought at the Battle of Belleau Wood.
Wow.
In World War I. And he had his original Marine Corps dress blues restored at a museum, and they fit him.
Wow.
So, as what is customary at the Marine Corps ball is the oldest and youngest Marine both hold the sword that makes the first cut of the cake. I was the youngest Marine, and he was the oldest Marine.
Oh, wow.
And after cutting the cake, he stood up and told us the story of Dan Daly and the Battle of Belleau Wood.
You know something? I listen to things like that, and you know, I'm a proud patriot.
Yeah.
And every time I'd go to the Marine Corps ball, I would those when they did that part of this. And Marine Corps ball is very, very strict and very ceremonial.
Yes, it is.
And they would, I remember watching as they were going through the lobby the last time I went, looking for that oldest Marine and the youngest, and doing that. You get chills.
Oh, it was chills to have him in front of the microphone.
Yeah.
One of the things he said, Dan Daly's a legend, 2 medals of honor and everything else. He said, everything you heard about him, it's true.
Wow.
And that's how he started the story.
And that's one of the other parts of the Marine Corps ball is you always have somebody that's getting up there and talking about experiences.
Yeah. He had lied about his age to join the Marine Corps and go fight. I think at the Battle of Bella Wood, he was 14 or 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now it was not surprising to hear of people that lied about their age to be able to serve, but that one's pretty young.
Yeah, but now these kids are 25 and they're 10.
It's amazing.
When the greatest generation was lying to go fight, right?
Yeah.
These kids today.
Yeah, it's a whole different. But
story.
Something, when you go to when my wife and I would go to the Marine Corps ball in Dana Point, they would bus in quite a few people from Camp Pendleton.
Yeah.
And some of them, they sure look young of course, maybe it's because our old eyes.
Yeah, I've noticed. I look at some of these young guys today in uniform, like, man, they're children.
Yeah, they are, and it's. But something, if you ever get an opportunity to go to a Marine Corps ball, now in the city of Orange on Saturday, they are doing an event at the American Legion, and I think it's from noon to 7. And if you listen to our program on Monday, Tony Jean was on, and she's one that does this last 5 or 6 years. It's going to be a great event over there. So go over there and check that out at the American Legion post in Orange, right by the Circle. It'll be a great event. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Yes, we're going to talk about the ways you can save money on your taxes. We'll do that with Kevin Bruner when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio. Again, you can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel's number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564. Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Real-time real estate segment today. We're going to try to do it real quick, Josh, because I talk too much. And Josh is saying, yeah, I know we do, in the background there. What a government shutdown really means for the housing market. Maybe we'll do this quicker than the shutdown. There's been a lot of talk lately about how a government shutdown impacts the housing market. You might be wondering, is it causing everything to grind to a halt? The short answer is, well, I think I thought I had this right here on top, but I don't have it handy. Short answer is no. It is not grinding to a halt. Where's my buzzer button? Oh, there it is. Housing market doesn't stop. It keeps moving. Homes are still being bought and sold. Contracts are still being signed and closings are still happening. The difference is that a few parts of the process may slow down a little, but overall the market continues to function. Here's what typically happens. Whenever the government shuts down, some federal agencies temporarily close or scale back their operations. That can cause a few hiccups in real estate, especially when it comes to processing certain types of government loans and insurance requirements. Applications for FHA, VA, and USDA loans, which account for about 1/4 of all mortgage applications, may encounter significant processing delays due to the agency furloughs, according to Selma Hepp, chief economist at Cotality. By recent estimates, more than 2,500 mortgage originations per working day are at risk of delays during a shutdown, according to Zillow. Flood insurance approvals may be paused. The National Flood Insurance Program can be temporarily affected, which delays closings in flood zones. Even with those challenges and delays, most transactions still go through. Buyers keep buying, sellers keep selling, and agents keep helping people move forward. And I will tell you this, FHA and VA do not make loans. They insure loans. So our lending team has no problem doing an FHA or a VA loan right now because we have the authority, and so do many other lenders, have the authority to issue those loans. Now, maybe they can't be insured until the government reopens, but it just means that we have to sit on it a little longer. We can still serve those who we need to serve. Housing market usually bounces back fast, and you can see that play out in this data. If you look back at the most recent government shutdown that began at the end of 2018 and lasted 35 days, sales activity dipped very slightly during the closure period, but picked right back up once the government reopened. If you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv or any of our socials, you do see a chart of data from the National Association of Realtors showing existing home sales slowed for about 2 months and then rebounded quickly as delayed closings worked their way through the system when the government reopened. What's important to note is that the slowdown you see in the orange bars, if you're watching us on any of our socials, is this graph wasn't simply due to seasonality, but a typical housing market cycle. The sharper drop in this case lines up exactly with the 35-day government shutdown, and then sales bounced back as soon as it ended. What this means for you if you're in the middle of buying or selling a home, don't panic. Most deals will still move forward even if it takes a few extra days. Jeff Ostrowski, housing market analyst at Bankrate, explains, if you're expecting to close in a week or a month, there could be some slight delay, but I think for most people, it's probably going to be a blip more than a real deal killer. And if you're just starting to think about buying or selling, this could actually work in your favor. Some buyers and sellers may become cautious and pause their plans during times of uncertainty like this, and that can open a short window of opportunity. When fewer people are active in the market, well-prepared buyers may find less competition for homes, and motivated sellers may be more willing to negotiate. These brief slowdowns often create a moment where you can make a move that would be harder once activity ramps back up. Bottom line, a government shutdown can cause short-term delays for some buyers, but it doesn't derail the housing market. The last time this happened, the sales picked up back up as soon as the government reopened. If you're unsure how this might affect your plans or want to make sure what sense of what's happening, simple. Give me a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So one of the things that I have been sharing with people for a long time is, and I did borrow it from somebody else, is that there is one United States tax code. There are two U.S. tax systems. One system is for the informed, and one system is for the uninformed. And as a listener of Ron Siegel Radio, we know you want to be part of the informed group. So we have Kevin Bruner here to help inform you on lots of different items within the tax system that there's a lot of people that just don't understand it, but Kevin does. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
So let's chat a little bit about this. I've got a client right now, and he's got a family home that he's getting ready to sell. It's in Newport Beach, and it's been in the family for many generations. Lot of appreciation in the property.
Yes.
And one of his big questions is, about selling it and how he's going to deal with the capital gains.
Well, you want to defer it. There's several ways of deferring it. Now, if it's somebody's primary residence, it doesn't qualify for the 1031. You can't
Right.
1031 a primary.
1031 exchange, which is one part of the tax code.
Yeah. So, and if it went through multiple generations, that somewhere in there was a step up in basis that somebody's passing. And you can Google some of these terms for the folks that aren't sure what they are. But we can do a calculation on what the current basis is, calculate what the gains tax is if they decide to sell. They might do like a lot of people, sell and move to Austin or Nashville or somewhere else, right? What we do is we use something called an installment sale trust. It's an old Ernst & Young program. It's very simple. It's very easy. There's a dozen ways of handling this problem. We start with the simplest, most direct, very easy. And the trust receives the proceeds at the close of escrow, and it's not taxable. The trust doesn't pay tax until there's distributions.
Okay.
So earnings in the trust on the investments. You can direct the investments. You indirectly direct the investments, because the trustee actually manages the trust.
Sure.
You. And the program is fully compliant with the tax code. There's a publication 537 where the IRS actually lays out how to do it. And then you declare it on a form 6252 in your tax return. So you tell them what you did. So there's no audits. No, but you told them what you did. You followed the forms.
Follow the code.
Yeah, it just flows right through your tax return. Now, the biggest problem we have with this is we're going to have to train your CPA. So sometimes we ask you, just use ours. All right. It just takes too long to train them sometimes.
And that's a big issue that we run into all the time is CPAs, enrolled agents, are very, very good at reporting.
They're historians.
Right. They're not strategists.
No, they're not. And they get very nervous when you want to do anything. In fact, we joke in the office that CPAs are the best tax collectors the IRS ever invented. Because we can review people's tax returns and say, you need to go back and refile these last 2 years' returns. There's $50,000 in overpayment here. Well, my CPA said I should do that to avoid an audit. An audit costs $5,000 to represent. Why would you spend $40,000 to avoid $5,000? Because you're going to win the audit. It makes no sense, right?
Let's see. I think that would take me a long time to calculate. Do I want to spend 5 to get 40? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty simple.
So, and in fact, we represent if it ever comes. If our people do the tax return, it's insured against audit.
Okay.
So the third-party insurance pays any penalties, interest, or the cost of representation. So there's no risk of following our tax advice. We implemented that program a few years ago, just so we didn't have to have the debate any longer. Anyways, back to that house that they're talking about. They defer it into the trust. The trust then gives an income stream for generations. It goes on as long as they want. They can direct the investments. There's guaranteed investments that give a great rate of return. Our money manager has beat the S&P every year since the late 90s when he started. So, which isn't hard, by the way. People say you can't beat the market. Well, no, your guy can't beat the market. I know thousands of advisors that beat it every year. So you end up creating an
especially because you're starting out with a 30 or 40% advantage.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it within the trust. So even the income from that the manager, you don't have to pay taxes on that, do you?
No,
So you're not paying. So you're starting out with a 30% advantage.
all the way around. Here's our goal from a 10,000 foot level. Let's defer the tax as long as possible. Keep that money invested and working. That's better for you, better for the economy. It's better for everybody long run to keep it invested. And as the money's coming out every year, the income, we do tax planning with you every fall because we got to get it done before December 31st to have credit. And most of our clients following our tax planning advice, the planning part, are at about a 10% effective rate. You see, I hope you're in the highest marginal rate. That's your top line income rate. But what did you effectively pay after all the math gets done in the tax return? What was your effective rate? And most of our clients, we'll get you to zero once in a while, but it's usually not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze to get you below 10 usually. Most of our clients end up in about an effective 10% rate. And my theory on that, if 10% is good enough for the Lord, tithe, right?
Sure.
It's good enough for the government. If they can't run on that, they need to tighten their belt.
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me too. So, but it's an ongoing process. So if you're in a client every year, this is part of the process. So that house selling that they have that capital gain in, you simply defer it into the trust. It's a very simple transaction.
Now, can I, as an individual, let's say I sell my house, I put it into the proceeds go to the trust.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to borrow from the trust as an
can't-
individual?
No, you can't take loans. That's called monetization, which is forbidden
Okay.
in the tax code. But you can take income, or the trust can join you in an investment.
So I can say, okay, I'd like to buy this building.
Yeah.
And the trust can be a partner with me.
Let's say you found some fourplex you want to buy as an investment property. The trustee can join you in that investment.
Okay.
So
Does it have to be 50-50 or is it can be,
no, it's pro rata based on however much money the trustee puts in. So let's say the trust makes the 30% down payment, you get the financing for the 70 because it's a rental property, right?
right.
There you go. 70-30 ownership of the LLC that owns the investment property.
Now, can I buy that? Can I buy a new house for myself?
No, if you were to live in the property yourself, that would cause what's called constructive receipt. So they would say. Have you ever heard of self-directed IRAs?
Sure.
Yeah. So you kind of got to follow the same rules as a self-directed IRA.
Okay.
If it doesn't work in a self-directed IRA, you can't do it here. If it does, you can.
Okay. Now I do want to throw this out there and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a CPA. That part I know. You don't have to correct me on that part. And I'm not an attorney and I'm not a tax attorney. So we don't want to give legal advice or financial advice on radio. We educate on radio.
I understand.
Is that fair?
Yes.
So if you want specific advice from Kevin, then this I can tell you is you can give me a call at 800-306-1990 and I can put you in touch with Kevin because then he can look at your situation or his team can look at your situation and say, this is a strategy and that we might want to employ. So, that there's simple ways of that. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. More with Kevin Bruner when we come back. You can reach me anytime. Again, off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel is number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564. Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at RonIsMyLender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. RonIsMyLender.com.
We're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Since I talk a lot, I'm just going to tell you Borrow Smart segment is being brought to you by GetHomeSelect.com. If you want to borrow smart, there you go, GetHomeSelect.com. Or start off with Key Steps, rsrlinks.com/Key Steps. Continue our conversation. Kevin Bruner is with us this morning. We're trying to get informed about taxes. And I'm going to throw this out there because I can. So you know why you hear all the time about from various individuals that are running for office that we need to tax the rich. You need to tax the rich. You need to tax the rich. Do you ever notice that the rich just kind of sit back and don't say anything? Other than Warren Buffett, because if you read his book, he's a bit hypocritical. Great investor, but a bit of a hypocrite. Says it in his book. But why don't they ever why don't they ever fight back about taxing the rich? Because they're part of the informed. They hire lots of people so they can do what Kevin just told us in the last segment, get that effective tax rate of around 10%. That's why they don't complain about any of it. They know these things that Kevin's telling. Am I right, Kevin?
You're absolutely correct, actually. The wealthy are just going to hire folks like me, keep themselves in about a 10% effective rate or lower, sometimes zero.
So they stay off the radar.
And they stay off the radar. They keep their mouth shut. They let the politician pit one class of people against the other,
which is not the rich.
Yeah, exactly. And the wealthy just kind of smile about it.
Someone I just read yesterday or saw on one of the reports yesterday that Jeff Bezos saved $1 billion a year in taxes when he left New York or left Seattle and went to Florida.
Probably
$1 billion a year. I mean, you think about that. Pretty good incentive to go to Florida from Seattle.
Yeah.
I'll put up with a few mosquitoes instead of rain every day.
Yeah, there's a lot of mosquitoes, though.
Yeah. but he could put a big tent over his house for $1 billion.
That's, $1 billion goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, can we do this same type of strategies with a business?
Yes, you can. In fact, the installment sale trust was really started when people sell a business. So Ernst & Young in the early 70s started the program. It was taught to us by some Ernst & Young tax attorneys that had retired from Ernst & Young. In 2004, they gave me the program. And it was used so their own partners could retire and defer the tax. And they'll call it a special purpose trust sometimes. It depends how it's structured and how you're doing it. But it's a method of just deferring the tax. And while it's deferred, it remains invested. And then you can, the money that would have been lost to the state and the Fed stays invested, earning for you.
Now, so when I put the money in there from or when the money is transferred there, because I'm not doing it, it's doing through the escrow or whatever.
It goes through escrow.
And I want to buy some Apple stock.
Yeah.
Can I do that?
Yes.
So I just go on my Charles Schwab account and push some buttons.
No, you direct the trustee and he does it at Schwab.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we have a fiduciary RA that manages all the assets in the trust for you. Fees are very low. So, because they're fiduciary fee only, right?
Right.
And you can direct the investments. Now, you can't do the trading. That would be constructive receipt. You got to avoid some of those things, right?
But follow the rules.
Yeah, follow the rules. But that's our job to keep you compliant. So you kind of tell us what you want to do. And we tell you how to do it within the rules.
Good, because that's I guess at the end of the day, that's what we all want to do is stay. Well, like I say, 99% of us want to just stay in the rules.
Yeah,
we want to take every legal deduction.
Yeah.
And take every legal advantage.
You don't have to fudge and break the rules and do loopholes and gray areas and all those other kinds of things. If there's some forethought and planning in the process, you don't have to worry about those things.
I always wonder about the people that have to go see their tax advisor in April. Why didn't you see him in November?
Well, they should be seeing them in October.
Oh, October. Okay.
To run what's called a specimen return, making certain assumptions, find out what you're estimated, what you think it's going to be next April, then do some planning that last few months. What can I do to get it down? So if you're in a higher, if you're making 150 a year or less, well, this doesn't matter so much for you.
Where is that break-even point?
You start getting north of about 450 a year, you need to start doing some serious tax planning.
Now, is it 450 a year just in income, or would it be something that would you have to have 450 or more in capital gains, or
no, just top line income? Do some planning with us. Now, if you have a capital gains thing coming up because you're going to sell a business or real estate or something like that, there's other planning we do for that.
So where's the break even on something like that? Because I'd heard like on one type of a trust, if you're not trying to manage something over $1 million, it probably doesn't work out for you.
Well, we have two levels. We have an individual installment sale trust where each one's unique. There's no commingling, and that's for $1 million and above of trust assets. The ones that are under $1 million, we have a program called Iron Gate Holdings, and that's for the person that just has this rental property for $400,000 in Oklahoma, and they don't want to deal with it anymore. They don't want to pay the tax. They don't want to do a 1031. They don't want to be a landlord. Well, when you go into that program and you have seven different income options you choose, and it's guaranteed. And,
wow.
And it pays like 7% principal and interest over 20 years, or you can choose the 10-year or even a 5-year option.
Wow.
So it has several options. You just check the boxes on the form, and at close of escrow, the money's received by the trust. There's no taxes due, and then you get an income stream instead. And there's a lot of people who are getting more income from that than they were the property.
Sure.
So let's say you're 60 and you just don't want to deal with it all anymore and you want to retire. You can
tenants, toilets, and trash. We don't want them.
Yeah, you can convert that into an income stream.
Interesting. Is there any way of me figuring out what programs make sense for me?
If you go to taxfreeyou.com.
Okay.
And answer just a few questions, it'll narrow it down to 2 or 3 programs. And then you can ask any one of those to be illustrated. And then our staff will do an illustration, set a Zoom meeting with you and review it and answer your questions.
Interesting. And we were talking before we went on air, because we only have a couple minutes left. You got a book coming out.
Well, the book is already an Amazon bestseller.
Okay. I guess I'm a little behind.
Yeah. It's in sometime in probably December, it'll be a Barnes & Noble bestseller as well. I got to do a couple more book signings at Barnes & Nobles and stuff. But it's called Just Say No to Bad Financial Advice. So if you went to the Amazon website, just typed in Kevin Bruner, it's spelled like B Runner, Kevin Bruner, you'll see it come up.
Okay.
And it has a red cover. It's like $18.
Now, here's the tough question. I don't know if you know this answer, but I don't read very well. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Is it available on Audible?
They've asked me to actually record an audio version. I've not taken the time to go in studio and do that yet.
Okay. I understand it's a heck of a job.
I hear it takes about a week, actually.
Yeah. You probably have to read it. If they do that, like we've done commercials and things like that, you probably have to read it 3 times.
Yes.
And
then it has to be edited and uploaded and stuff. So no, I've not done the audiobook version.
Okay. When that comes out, I'll be ready to go.
Audiobook can be difficult. There's charts and graphs and stuff in there. So it's kind of hard to put that into an audiobook. So it's not on the radar just yet. We do have a Kindle version you can download, digital version.
Okay. So maybe I'll do that. I just get a PDF or something of it or something.
Yeah.
But something, if anybody that's really studies the art of minimizing your taxes in a legal way, I'm sure it's got some great stuff for you.
Taxes are a number one expense in retirement.
Sure.
And it
probably our number one
more
expense when we live too. Well, kids might be.
Yeah. So, but no, people that are in retirement, their house is paid down or the payment's low. And you look at their expenses, their groceries, utilities, all these other things, Medicare, all that kind of stuff. And you look at the taxes they're paying because they've run out of deductions. So we have ways of creating deductions. We have this one deduction. I'm not going to go on the air. You want to know how this works. We can show you how to get multiples of the check you wrote off your tax return that year. And the following year, it flips into an investment that starts generating income to you. Actually, excellent income.
Wow.
There's a bonus depreciation you get in addition to some other deductions. And then in year 2, it starts generating income. Then the client comes back and he says, wait a minute, you started a whole new problem. Well, that's the kind of problem you want to have.
Sure.
You know,
just put more money in there the next year so you get multiples and vicious cycle, right?
Yeah, and it's a pretty sweet. We usually run out. There's only so many positions we can put in each one every year. So usually by October, if you haven't seen us by October, you've run out of space.
Interesting. If you want more information about minimizing your taxes, tax strategies, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, because I know how to put you in touch with Kevin Bruner. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.